All right, here we are on the lesson 20, day 1 classwork. I'm going to label this. It's pretty much, this is technically day 1 here for this, right? Because you will have a day 2. So we're talking about composite problems. These are kind of like puzzles in a sense. I would highly suggest doing some labeling of your pictures, labeling of your work to help you stay organized. I'm going to do 2 problems in the video. These are probably 2 of the trickier ones that we run into problems with. So I'm going to look at number 3 here, where it says the figure shows 2 semicircles and a quarter of a circle. Find the area of the shaded region. Okay, so the hardest part for some of you will probably be figuring out which one's the semicircle and which are the quarter circles. So the semicircles, I'm going to number these. These are going to be number 1, number 2. I'm going to do those in purple. And then we've got these quarter circles I'm going to do in green. We got 1 quarter circle. This will be shape number 3. Okay, so since there's nothing to take away, you're just finding the areas for these. So for number 1, the area, it'd be A equals pi r squared, and since it's a semicircle, we're going to divide by 2. So here in this case, we're using 3.14 for pi. Our radius would be half of the 10, so it'd be times 5 squared, all divided by 2. So it'd be 3.14 times 25 divided by 2. When you do that, you get 39.25. Okay. The second semicircle will also be the same thing. So 3.14 times 5 squared, all divided by 2. And again, you get 39.25. Okay. You could have said, well, the 2 semicircles make 1 whole circle. That would have also worked as well. You'll get the same answer. And then the last one, we have this quarter circle. So it'd be A equals pi r squared divided by 4. All right. The hardest part is figuring out what the radius is. So imagine if we kind of like drew a circle out to the side and we split this into quarters and say we're looking down here at this part of the quarter circle. Remember, they said this line was 10 centimeters, so that's going to be our radius of our quarter circle. So we're going to have 3.14 times 10 squared divided by 4. This would be 3.14 times 100 divided by 4, and you would get 78.5. Okay, there really is no other option for you to do that one because there's only 1 quarter circle. So now we're just going to take everything that we found, we're going to add them all together. So we'd have 39.25 and another 39.25 and a 78.5. So when you add all of those, you would get 157, and we're talking centimeters squared. Okay. And then on the next page, I want to do number 4. So number 4, Jillian is making a paper flower motif for an art project. The flower she is making has 4 petals. One of the petals is formed by 3 semicircles, which is shown below. What is the area of the paper flower? Okay, so again, I want to do some labeling because they said it's 3 semicircles. So I've got number 1 up top here. And then I'm going to call the bigger one number 2 down here. And then number 3 will be this little baby guy here. Okay. So I'm going to start with number 1. And they said these are all semicircles, which is important to note. So for number 1, it'd be A equals pi r squared divided by 2. We got a semicircle. Okay, and it doesn't say what to use for pi. I'm going to use 3.14, usually a safe bet here. So 3.14 times my radius. So all the way across is 12, which means half of that would be 6 times 6 squared divided by 2. which would be 3.14 times 36 divided by 2. And when you do that, you get 56.52. Okay, so that is number 1. Number 2 here, I've got another semicircle. So we're talking a equals pi r squared divided by 2. I'm going to use 3.14. Whatever you use for pi, just keep it consistent, and then it doesn't matter if they don't give you a specific one. Times. So number 2 is technically going, like the diameter would be going all the way across here, which I did in red. All the way across would be the 12 plus the 6, which would be 18. So half of that would be 9. So this would be times 9 squared, all divided by 2. So it'd be 3.14 times 81 divided by 2, which you would get 127.17. Okay? Then the last one, we've got that little baby circle, but it's another half circle, so we're going to do a equals pi r squared divided by 2, 3.14 times my radius, so my diameter here is 6, so I just want half of that, which would be 3 squared divided by 2, so I got 3.14 times 9 divided by 2, which gets you 14.13. Okay, so now the hardest part, once you've figured out what all the radii are, that's probably the first hardest part, is now what are you going to do with these numbers? So we want all of number 1. That's all shaded. We want all of number 2 except that white part that gets taken out, which is our circle number 3. So we're going to add the 56.52 plus the 127.17, and then we're going to take out the 14.13 because we don't want that part. So in the end, you should get 169.56 centimeters squared. Okay, I would say if you were going to focus on problems, number 1 is an important problem to make sure you know how to do, and then this second page has got some really good problems on it as well. Okay, so that's all I'll do for the video, but if you have questions, you can always send me an email with the problem that you're stuck on.